What's good, guys? It is Sam here, and tonight we're going to go over our YouTube channel rankings for the Democratic candidates running for nomination for president. Why are we going to do this? Well, this is our sixth factor in our overall power rankings, which we're going to touch on in a moment, and why we're going to be using YouTube. We're going to discover exactly why and go over some data along with that. And then we're going to get into exactly the four figures or factors that we took a look at to stack rank each of these candidates in before we took a weighted average. Now, when we took the weighted average, we used the number of subscribers and the total number of viewers. Each of those factors had a 35% weight, and the growth rates for the subscribers and the growth rates for the views had 15%. I feel as though the absolute number of subscriber growth is more valuable than the growth rate of the subscribers, and I feel the same thing for the total number of views versus the growth rate of the views. That's why we broke it down that way. And then lastly, we're going to compare who's doing really well versus who's not doing very well, and see if we can see beyond the data, right, to understand what's going on. So that'll be very interesting, first time doing that. And if you want to stay tuned for all of that, make sure you fucking watch it. If you're first time here, what's good? My name's Sam. If you're returning, you better be pressing that like button. All right, let's jump into it. The power rankings. So what are the power rankings? Well, we try to figure out the most relevant factors to consider when we're trying to understand the world around us. Whereas previously, you would take a poll of a bunch of people who more than likely opted in to take some type of survey. And just in the act of requiring an opt-in for this requires that or implies that the answers would be biased in some degree, because you don't get the true authentic answer from somebody when you do it that way, right? Like if you really want to understand somebody, like how they are, you've got to watch them when nobody else is around, right? And that's what we're trying to do, is get to the foundational understanding of what is happening, and that's what we have with these power rankings. So the first two factors here, we take the two, a little bit of preview what's coming up, the two biggest sites in the entire planet, Google search and YouTube search. And we take those two websites to stack rank each of the candidates based upon the search volume, right? So this is roughly 350 million Americans, and they're searching on YouTube, and they're searching on Google for things. And we did that for all 10 of our Democratic candidates to see who had the highest search volume. I don't know, it seems like a pretty relevant thing, but you were like, wow, so-and-so has a lot of attention right now because this happened. But that's not what's actually going on. Well, to help mitigate that, what we did is we looked at a time period, right? We took an average over that time period. So we've got 12-month, 3-month, and 1 month. And we took an average over that time period. Then we took a look at their website. So the website's a little bit different than search in that people, I think, are a little bit more intentional by going to a website, right? Because most of the time you're just going to donate the website and maybe learn a little bit about the person. But I think a much more accurate way to learn about somebody is to go to YouTube or go to Google and see what's actually being said, not just some PR version on a website. So I feel like the primary reason is basically to get people's email addresses and stuff and donations. So we've stacked ranked each candidate's website, campaign website, against each other to see who was most popular, and by how much, and a couple other factors like how much time people spend on their sites. And we did all that before we moved into social, starting with Facebook, then to Twitter, and tonight we're going to go over the YouTube channel. And then the last one is the donations, which we don't actually have the data to update that for about 8 more days. So stay tuned for that one. Don't forget to press that subscribe button. So that kind of answers why we do a power ranking, because I think using this style of analysis, whether you agree exactly with the methodology or not, I think most people could probably agree that this is probably going to be more representative of what is actually taking place in America than by polling data. Unless you get to very, very large numbers of polling data, I don't think it can come even close to this. I think this would be a good hypothesis to test against for the polling data to see how accurate it would be, but I don't think you can possibly find something with a better gauge of understanding, and that's why we're doing these. I think I'm going to do a Iowa caucus poll video, so if you want to see that video coming out later this week, make sure you press that subscribe button and the little bell notification. Now, why are we using YouTube? Well, I touched on it earlier a little bit. YouTube is not only the second most popular site on the entire planet. Think about the amount of traffic that has to be on YouTube in order to be the second largest site on the entire planet. That's tremendous. They're also the second largest search engine on the planet after Google. And Google, parent company Alphabet, also owns YouTube. So some interesting stats here from Roadside Marketing Company here. More than 1 point, and I think this data is actually old. I think this is from like 2016. So I would bet these numbers to be higher. More than 1.9 billion monthly users. There's over 30 million daily. Whoa, that was not what I wanted to do. 30 million daily users. This is. Where was it? There was something very interesting that I wanted to point out here. TV reaches for more than TVs reaches more 49 to 18-year-olds than cable. I think this is mine's YouTube. I think that's the stat that I was actually looking for. Right here, where it's some interesting stats. So YouTube reaches more YouTube reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds than cable does. So one of the criticisms that I get from doing these is that, well, this shows data, but these people are not going to vote. Well, when you look at the big picture, right, the number of I'm not even getting that kind of stuff, but the number of voters who are represented here, according to Pew Research, you can see that in 2018, this demo actually had a higher turnout than was expected, and that's continued as time goes on. So there's an expectation that the 2020 election is going to see absolutely insane turnout, and I agree. I think that it is going to see insane turnout. But this, right, 18 to 49-year-olds, is why YouTube is so powerful, because this is the demo that's getting the promotions, who's starting to be in leadership roles where they can actually make decisions in their organizations or companies to impact the vision and the direction of their company and the impact on society and their employees and the rest of the world. So I think that having a large presence on YouTube, the second largest website on the entire planet, that really hits home between 18 and 49-year-olds. Like maybe if you're trying to target like younger than 18 or older than 49, but I mean, when you look at the data, the under 53, which is right around this age group, ages 53 and under, are actually going to represent, I think it's over 62% of the total vote in 2020. So, I mean, you're leaving out a shitload of the fucking population by not doing well on YouTube. And then this just pulls up the ranking of YouTube according to Alexa and to SimilarWeb. They just rank sites on a global basis. I use Alexa more. SimilarWeb seems to be more biased towards U.S. companies. So I use Alexa, and as you can see, YouTube is number 2 here. Now, let's jump over to the 4 factors. So as I mentioned, the number of subscribers and the total number of viewers over this time periods that we're going to look at, they were given a 35% weight versus the 15% weight to the growth rates. And that in the overall ranking. The next slide we have is a virus slide. Okay, so look at this. This is the overall ranking. We're going to run through the top 5 here. We got Andrew Yang at number 1. Then we're going to dive into the numbers a little bit. Joe Biden, interestingly, Joe Biden is number 2. Number 3 is Bernie Sanders. Number 4 is Kamala Harris. Number 5 is Cory Booker. Look at him go. Nice job, bud. Okay, so let's look at some things here, though. Let's first take a look at the total subscribers, and then let's take a look at the views before we jump into the growth rates on both of these, okay? So we're going to take a look at the total number of subscribers gained over the last 30 days. And I'm assuming that something jumps out to you pretty quickly. Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders are dwarfing, completely and utterly dwarfing everybody else. By the way, my channel, right? I have around 2,900 subscribers. And I've gained, I think, around 440 subscribers in the last 30 days. So my channel has gained more subscribers than a decent number of these. I'm just going to pull up my YouTube analytics right now to show you exactly what it is. But I'm pretty sure it's 440 subscribers that I've gained. Okay, 407, I apologize, subscriber I've gained over the last 28 days. It's not 30 days, but that's still more than a couple of these guys up here. But Bernie Sanders is just running away, and Andrew Yang's just running away with it. Now let's come over to the views here. Now this isn't as pronounced as the subscribers, but look at this. Look at Bernie Sanders here. Like 1.33 million views in the last 30 days. And he's doing some good work over there. So I actually pulled up his YouTube channel to take a look at first, but then I decided to use Yang's just because he's number 1. And then we come up here to Andrew Yang, and he's got 0.949 million, right? Or 950,000. The next closest person is Joe Biden with 250,000. Like, you can see the size difference of the competitors. Like, look at everybody else here. Like, look at this. Amy Klobuchar, or whatever her name is, has 1,000 views over the last 30 days. Well, that's also because I think the only thing I could find that had I don't think she even has like a YouTube channel. I think there's somebody else that might have a YouTube channel, and I can't find it anymore. When I first did it, there's a YouTube channel and there's like no fucking subscribers to it, but it's like it seems like it's Amy's channel. But that's the only one I can find. When you Google search her or you search for her on YouTube, I can't even find her YouTube channel. Like, I think that's just insane, right, guys? Like, the number 2 site in the entire planet. So what does it mean to have the number 2 site on the entire planet? It means that you have a fuckload of attention, right? Like, that's just what it is. You have a shit load of attention. That's how you became number 2 on the entire planet. And then Amy's just like, yep, definitely don't want to go near there. Like, that's just insane. Like, there's just so much attention there, and Amy's just like, oh, let me get around this. Don't want to go into that shenanigans. Man, it just like blows my mind. So that's kind of interesting. We have Julian over here coming up in number 4. And then rounding out the top 5 is Elizabeth Warren with 78,000. Still 78,000. Like, my channel has 60,000. Yeah, my channel has 60,000 views over the last, maybe 59. This morning it was 59. I'm assuming it's going to be 60,000 by the time the numbers come in again. 60,000 views versus 80,000. And this is Elizabeth Warren, who's like running for president. That's pretty crazy. And then let's just quickly look at the growth rates here. So for Andrew Yang, we have a 9.2 2.24. So this is over about a 2-week period. I did the measurement period obviously up here at the top. And then the viewers, it's gained about 13%. So nobody else is, when you look at these numbers too, right, this is over a 2-week period, right? So I think there's around 18 of these periods per year. So the growth rate on this is substantially higher than this on an annualized basis. To grow that quickly, we'll continue following this to see where this heads and how this is going to continue to trend. But to have that much of a growth rate is just astonishing. Even to have, like, look at Kamala Harris. She's got 4 and 5% here. That's on an annualized basis. This is only in 2 weeks, so it might look like it's like, oh wow, so much better. But when you annualize these numbers, like, I'll just show you for example. So what do we have? We're going to say this is over 2 weeks, so 14 days. So 365 divided by 14 days. Just so we can come up here and see, 26 times. All right, so this times this to give us a rough approximation. Like 330, like that's insane, right? Like look at this one. We're just going to pick, we'll pick Beto O'Rourke here, right? And he's still growing at a 30% rate, even though it doesn't look like he's doing dick. Right? Because he's only gaining 1%. Like, that's just astonishing. Look at this dude, Julian, right? Right here at the bottom. He's still going at 23% on an annual basis. Like, that's why, like, these numbers may seem much smaller than they appear, but when you actually do the math on an annualized basis, they're all growing at a large rate. But like Andrew's growing at like 300+%, you know, versus everybody else is a lot less. Like the number 2 person, what do we say it was? Bernie times about 26, so he's growing at 213%. So he's the next closest person to Andrew Yang. And I wanted to just show the delta from the first measurement period. So I did this ranking already once, and I didn't put the date on here, and I didn't put enough time or effort to figure out when that date was. But it was about 2 weeks ago. And I wanted to compare the views from 2 weeks ago to now, just on an absolute basis, because I thought that might be interesting. And so what we did is we see that Pete lost a bunch of views, and he lost 2 spots. So the second column here, this is the number of spots that they lost, but we're going to just touch on first who's lost views, because you can lose views without actually losing any spots, which is pretty evident by Joe Biden. Excuse me, Joe Biden right here. I'm sorry, not Joe Biden. I thought there was somebody else on here who lost. Oh, right here. Amy, right? She's lost 14,000 views, but she didn't move him in her ranking. But we do have a significant number of these players who've lost a bunch of views. Like Bernie Sanders has lost 300,000 views from the measurement period 2 weeks ago. I don't know, that doesn't sound super fantastic, but we'll have to continue playing this out over the next 2 weeks to see how that plays out. The last section here is just how many spots somebody's gained or lost. And I just want to show you that in a graph form because I think it's way more representative or easier to understand. And you can see here on the left, right, the middle is what splits out as 0. So I think I have another graph down here. No, I don't. So we have Pete, who lost 2 spots, Julian, who lost 3 spots, and then Sanders lost 1, Elizabeth Warren lost 1, and Beto O'Rourke lost 1. Well, Joe Biden gained 1, Corey gained 1, and Kamala Harris like shot the F up. She shot up 5 spots. So kudos to Kamala Harris. She really, really made a big difference on that. So what are your thoughts? I'd love to know them down below. And if you want to see the overall power ranking of all of these factors. So now we finished up this. We don't have the data for this last one here for donations because they don't have to start reporting they don't have to report their data until September 30th like the candidates don't. So we won't be able to update this until September 30th. But we've updated all these over a 2-week period, and we're going to come out with the overall ranking tomorrow. So make sure you press that subscribe button. Make sure you press that bell notification so YouTube can notify you. And then let me know down below whether you want to see Trump versus Yang next, or the Iowa caucus primary based on this type of analysis to see who is actually winning. Now, let's go back here real quick and just take a look at who is winning, right? So we're going to pull up Andrew Yang, and then we're going to pull up Beto O'Rourke, right? Just because we want to see if there's anything pertinent like that they're doing different. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's start on the home page here, and I might start playing one of their videos. And let's go over here and start on the home page as well. As you can see, this guy has 5,000 subscribers. Yang has 95,000 subscribers. We're just going to scroll down a bunch of shit. We just want to know, well, there's a lot less on his site, just to start with, right? Like, this is me scrolling down, and nothing. So, and also, if you look at the entrance here, look how much more the data there is there. Now, I think, just from an optimization standpoint, look at here on Yang's. Look at here on Beto O'Rourke's. Both of these are lost opportunities. I think that this, somewhere in here, it should maybe stop here, and a YouTube link should be visible right here. You can do it if you just put the link up higher, so that in this text you're going to get more clicks that way, period. You're just going to get more clicks. So both of these guys should be doing that, which I think is a missed opportunity. But for Beto, it looks like he just needs to set up his page a little bit more. Let's jump over to some of the videos for both of these guys and see if we notice anything that stands out. Because right now, the only thing that's really standing out was that little bit on the first page. It looks like O'Rourke has a lot on here. Versus, let's go over to Yang, his videos. It does appear that Yang's seem to have better thumbnails. I think just because you see an individual, like in a lot of his, versus Beto's, like, I mean, there's a shitload of them here, which is very bad quality. You can't understand what is happening just from the thumbnail. So I think from a thumbnail perspective, definitely goes to Yang. And there was a period of time, like, look at this. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? It's just like 7 out of 34 videos. 5 out of 34, 13 out of 30. Like, what is going on, dude? Like, put content with that. I mean, it could have just, like, been, you know, a 30-day challenge for him to put out content, but I feel like there's definitely some opportunity there. Let's jump over to the playlists, right? So for playlists, we've got several over here for Yang. Let's go over to the playlist over here. It looks like they're about the same. Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. Let's see if they have any community. So community is where you can post pictures or polls or information. Okay, this is a huge, huge missed opportunity for both of these guys. So basically, you could probably repurpose in a different way content from other platforms, specifically tailored to YouTube, and put it under their community tab, and it'll work. They just need to do it. So this is a big missed opportunity. I already checked this for Andrew Yang, and I know this is a missed opportunity, but I'm sure it is for this guy as well. Yeah, like, I don't know why these guys don't reach out to the top people who are talking about them on the internet and do an interview with them, and then tell them, like, hey, I'm going to feature your channel on mine, so that they can get more views, and that person is talking about, say, Beto, right? Like, if I was talking about Beto, this dude should fucking reach out. If I was, like, you know, constantly talking about him kind of thing, reach out to me and be like, yo, let's do an interview. And then we do an interview, and he says he's going to put my channel on his channel section. That's going to drive traffic over me. It's going to provide value to me, which then that person that they're getting that value from the extra views is going to feel something along reciprocity, and they're probably going to make more content around them. It's probably going to be more biased, right? Like, and I think this is just a tremendous missed opportunity for both of these guys. Build that relationship, get more content out about you. The About Me section is the last section we're going to take a look at. Whoops. So Yang, and over here, So they actually started about a month apart exactly. So what's kind of interesting though is, right, so we've got a bunch of links over here for Andrew Yang. Last time I checked, this was actually a broken link, and it looks like they fixed it. Nice job. So this has about 5 million views, and Betos has about 950. I'm sorry, 850, 860. So you can see that, like, there's a lot. I'm looking at the numbers, but clearly these candidates are saying different things. One, like Andrew Yang, seems to be resonating with a tremendous amount more people, clearly by the growth when we looked at his channel ranking relative to everybody else, right, on these factors. But you can see the same thing in some subtleties on the actual channel here and how much more quickly things are happening for him than other candidates. I thought this we would see more contrast here. I just decided to throw this in as a bonus at the end of these. If you have any other ideas, let me know down below in the comments, and appreciate you. Also, there's a link for my Instagram in the description. Jump over there and say, what's good? I post a lot more about fitness over there. And don't forget to subscribe for the overall power ranking. That is probably the best video we have, where we recap everything overall. Peace.